Greetings YouTube, and this is the Paradox Engine. Today we'll be talking about our top 10 most interesting cards we found in Duskmourn. We do have an honorable mention. The card is Unwanted Remake. For 1 white, destroy target creature. Its controller manifests dread. I like seeing 1 mana removal spells. I think they're some of the best removal spells in the format. I don't know if we're going to be seeing a lot of play with this card, but I already see it spiking in price, and my best guess is that we are going to see it a lot more. It's a great card. It destroys a creature for 1 white. Sure, it gives the opponent an opportunity to look at the top 2 cards of their library and then put 1 into the battlefield face down and 1 into the graveyard, fueling different mechanics. But you also have to think that you're probably taking away 1 of their best creatures. It could probably be a Crom before it deals combat damage and starts looting. It could be a Najila. It could be a Sisay. Honestly, with the format, how it's going and how fast it's being played lately, I do think Unwanted Remake might see play, especially when you don't want to give your opponent a basic land or any sort of life advantage through Path to Exiles and Swords to Plowshare. But the number 10 spot is going to the 6 rare land cycle that is in the set. You know, Blazemire Verge, Flood Farm Verge, Gloomlake Verge, Hushwood Verge, Thornspire Verge, and Valgavoth Slayer. They all do different. Well, the 5 dual color lands are the same land, but Valgavoth Slayer as a whole is a very interesting land. Not only is it an enchantment land, it also has hexproof, and it enters tapped. As it enters, you choose a color, and it taps for 1 mana of the chosen color. I think the fact that it's an enchantment land, it'll go crazy with Enchantress tile decks. It'll go crazy with Delirium or things that care about how many things you have in the graveyard. And the other 5 lands are just tap to add a color, and then if you have either for example Blazemire Verge, if you have a swamp or a mountain, it also taps for red. I think this, in combination with all of the mana fixing we have, it might not see a lot of play, but I do see it as a potential way for budget decks to start piling up fixed mana bases. You know, it's a way to fix your mana base if you're on a budget. I think it's going to be amazing. On number 9, we have the Jolly Balloon Man. For 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 white. Legendary creature, Human Clown. It has haste. And it pay 1 and tap it. Create a creature that's a copy of another target creature you control, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature in addition to its other colors and types. It also has flying and haste. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Activate only as a sorcery. If we can, red and white have a lot of ways to untap creature. White has a lot of ways to untap creatures, and red has a lot of value engine creatures. We can pair this up with Dockside Extortionist once it's on the battlefield and just start generating infinite treasure tokens and creating, infinite mana that way. Or we can do Infinite Fellow Guardians to create more triggers for Restoration Angel, I think it is the other piece, or whatever other value creatures we can get. I saw people talking about Fable of the Mirror Breaker being very useful, and this is basically just a Fable of the Mirror Breaker in the command zone. I think it's going to see a lot of play. I think it's going to be amazing. We just have to wait and see how much it's going to see play. Thinking about ways to building this, because I do like the idea of create tokens, of very good value engine creatures, and just keep on that value train going. And I think we might actually see it play a lot. For number 8, Silent Hull Creeper. 1 and a blue. Enchantment creature horror. Silent Hull Creeper can't be blocked. Whenever Silent Hull Creeper deals combat damage to a player, Choose one that hasn't been chosen. Put 2+1/+1 counters on Send Hall Creeper. Draw a card, or Send Hall Creeper becomes a copy of another target creature you control. What I'm mostly thinking about here, this is going to be a casual card mostly, and we might see it with big dumb attack triggers that we've seen in the past. And once the Send Hall Creeper becomes that creature, you get an extra combat phase. We're going to be talking about another card that gives extra combat phases, and I think it's going to go wild with it. But yeah, I think this is going to be great for those trigger kind of decks. Give it vigilance and or a good combat trigger, and I think it could go very far and wide. Number 7, Fear of Missing Out. 1 and a red. Enchantment creature Nightmare. When Fear of Missing Out enters, discard a card, then draw a card. Delirium. Whenever Fear of Missing Out attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. So what I'm thinking is, in combination with Silent Hall Creeper, you can attack. If you have Delirium, trigger it, untap Hall Creeper, becomes a copy of Fear of Missing Out, and then you attack. That one untaps Fear of Missing Out. You attack, and you go into an infinite combat loop. In my opinion, those are the kind of combos Silent Hall Creeper and Fear of Missing Out can go through, and Fear of Missing Out can also go very, very well with the Jolly Balloon Man. It's just, we're seeing a lot of value engine creatures and value combat creatures in this set. For number 6, we have Come Back Wrong. For 2 and a black, sorcery. Destroy target creature. If a creature card is put into the graveyard this way, return it to the battlefield under your control. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. I think this is a great way for you to not only get rid of your opponent's best creature, sadly this is a sorcery, but also to gain it for your combat step. Again, we're seeing a lot of Combat Matters cards being printed, and getting rid of, let's see, a Tivit, a Crom, or something like that might be beneficial. I don't know how well it's going to pair up CEDH, but I can see it being very useful in normal Commander. Now, for number 5, we have Hauntwood's Shrieker. 1 green. Creature, beast, mutant. Whenever Hauntwood Shrieker attacks, manifest dread. We all know what manifest dread does, and it also has 1 and a green. Reveal target face down permanent. If it's a creature, you may turn it face up. Not only are you manipulating the top of your deck with the manifest dread, you're also putting bodies on the floor, on the battlefield, and you get to fill up your graveyard for Reanimator decks, or for things that care about Delirium, or for Delve. I think this card might actually see a lot more play than we think. Now, I don't know if it's going to be seeing CDH play, but definitely it's going to see some form of gameplay, and it's going to be some form of use in graveyard style decks. I think it's very important. I think it's going to be an amazing creature to try and get. For number 4, you have Kato, Bane of Nightmares. 2, a blue and a black. Ninjutsu. For 1, a blue and a black. During your turn, as long as Kaito has 1 or more loyalty counters on him, he's a 3/4 ninja creature and has hexproof. This is crazy. A Planeswalker with Ninjutsu, who is also a creature a la Gideon, presents you with a lot of really cool opportunities. You're not only are you attacking with a 3/4 that has hexproof, so it's a little bit harder to actually manage when it's your turn. It also has other abilities that it can do. For example, the +1, you get an emblem with ninjas you control, get +1/+1. It is buffing all of your ninjas permanently. It's an emblem. It's something players cannot deal with. The 0 is a surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. In a -2, tap target creature and put 2 stun counters on it. This is a value commander I wish I could play in Commodore Guff, honestly, because it is such a great card. The sheer fact that we're getting ninjutsu in a planeswalker is insane to me. For number 3, Dazzling Theater and Prop Room. Dazzling Theater is 3 colorless and 1 white. Enchantment Room. Creature spells you cast have Convoke, which is you can tap creatures to pay it for its mana cost. But we really only want it for the amazing other side. Prop Room. 2 and a white. Untap each creature you control during each player's untap step. The amount of mana dorks we have, the amount of value creatures we have that have triggers when something happens to them, or whenever they block or do anything, is insane. Imagine being able to create even more tokens with the Balloon Man, or doing something similar like that with Kiki-Jiki. I think this is one of the coolest cards we've printed in this set, and I want to see how people can break it. And number 2, Meathook Massacre 2. XX black. Legendary enchantment. When Meathook Massacre 2 enters, each player sacrifices X creatures. Whenever a creature you control dies, you may pay 3 life. If you do, return that card under your control with a finality counter on it. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, they may pay 3 life. If they don't, return that card under your control with a finality counter. This card is insane. Not only are you getting rid of most of their board, you're also getting their board more than likely. A lot of people in CDH throw away their life with fetches, shocklands, mana crypt, mana vaults, and all of those mana producing things like the talismans. This is an amazing card when you look at it. I think it's going to see a lot of play. I think it's going to be great. Pick up your copies. It is rising in price, and it's honestly going to be an insane card. Every time I look at it, I'm trying to find, it's just better Meathook Massacre. And I'm trying to find ways to just be able to return it to my hand so I can keep on doing it, you know? But for number 1, it's Demonic Council. 1 and a black. Sorcery. Search your library for a demon card. Reveal it. Put into your hand. Then shuffle. That's not that special, right? But if we go for the Delirium, and there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard. Instead, search your library for any card. Put it into your hand, then shuffle. It's Demonic Tutor. That's it. Do I need to explain more? Tutor for any card in your deck for 2 mana. It could be better than Diabolic Intent. You have fetches. You have things you want to get rid of early on in the game. Fuel your Delirium. I think this card is going to see a lot of play. And I really hope it does, because it is just amazing. But yeah, this has been the Paradox Engine. I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you all in the next video. Have a good one. Leave a comment below if you know any other card that has a lot of potential, or if we missed something. This has been the Paradox Engine, signing out.